everybody. Welcome to Breakfast with the Deacons. You are now watching Trinity TV, and you're watching the #1 show on Trinity TV. It is the show where you get all the good news. So if you're watching another station, just turn your dial, or tell your friends to turn your dial. You're on the right dial, right? So welcome to Breakfast with the Deacons. I am Deacon Walcott. And we're broadcasting live from Trinidad and Tobago, and we're beaming all out through the Caribbean. So everywhere that you have that Flow network, anywhere that you have all the other networks, you're seeing us live. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, WhatsApp. You can just check us out, right? And whenever we start Breakfast with the Deacons, we always start with a quotation from Pope Francis. I don't know why he wakes me up in the morning. He says, Derek, it's time to get up, time to get on your knees and pray. But I want you to take this message. And the message he gives us this morning is this: the world can no longer trust the unseen forces and the invisible hands of fake news, the wrong messages. And he says, I call for action beyond the simple. I call us to refocus on the priorities. Refocus on the priorities that make sense. I call men back to Christ. And this is an amazing thing that he should even start us up with this morning, because I have two men, and they are part of a team that the Archbishop put together for the launching of the Catholic Men's Ministry in the Archdiocese of Port of Spain. Together with me is the Episcopal Delegate for the Evangelization Commission, Dr. Peter Timothy Boy, big name. And we have with him Matthew Hall. He is a member of the Companions for the Transfigured Christ, and we welcome them for Breakfast with the Deacons.
Thank you.
Welcome, Matthew.
Hi.
Dr. Peter Timothy Boy. The first time I called him the doc. He's the doc in the place. The Catholic Men's Movement in this archdiocese. What's this big thing? What the Archbishop starting? You rumpling up men or what?
Well, I think he has seen the dire need for some form of structure to take place in the diocese, where men's ministry isn't just a men's group, but it's more than that. As Pope Francis is calling and beckoning for men to become heralds of the good news, to become better leaders, authentic witnesses. And in this society, in the church, in our families, that is what we need. We need men to rise up and become leaders, to take their place, their role as leaders in all of these settings. And the Archbishop is basically helping the diocese do that through this ministry. This ministry is going to help men to become who they are called to be as leaders.
But you are a young man. What are you getting involved in this thing for?
Well, when I see the crowds, I wonder myself.
Because, you know, I hear they change in the Bible. The Bible says that, you know, that the good shepherd would leave the 99 behind and go after the one lost sheep. But I hear he had to leave the one good sheep he has still and go after the 99 lost ones. Yeah? What is the situation of men in our society, men in church and so on, Peter?
Well, generally you find that men are active, but not as active as we would like. And the whole idea of the National Catholic Men's Ministry is to send out a clarion call to our men to get more involved, to take up their rightful place in their families, and in particular in our parishes and so on. It's not that men are not involved, but the fact of the matter is that we need more men to be involved so that we can really do what we have to do in the society and begin to effect change.
Yeah. You making it a clarion call, I'm making it a SOS. You know what I mean? When you say men are involved, what are you talking about? 10 to 1? 10 women to 1 man? What is we talking about outside?
There's some levels.
Long time calypso.
10 to 1 is murder. You know, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of murder, we're seeing a lot of abuse. And would you all put it down to men not really taking their rightful place?
Definitely. One of the things that is needed for young men in particular, they learn how to become a man through the example that they see. Mm-hmm. So if they don't have that example in their life, then where are they going to learn? How are they going to learn how to deal with situations, with tension? The issue that we've had the campaign like for non-violence and so on. But if the example that you see is one of violence, then how would you learn non-violence? So it's very important for men to mirror to other young men what it means to be a man. I mean, part of the whole discussion was the idea of us developing this idea and coming to terms with what we call the Catholic man. What is he supposed to be in the society? What does he mirror in the society, right? And showing integrity, showing the fact that men indeed are important in every aspect of the life of our community, and in church activities in particular. We tend to fall into this sort of idea that religion and church is for women and the daughters and the sisters, and the father stays at home. No, the important thing is that the father has to show the sons that he has that prayer is an important aspect of their life.
Yeah, but let me just take you back, because, I mean, this thing is not happening now. I mean, it's generations that we've not had men playing that important role in family life and in society on the whole. We could all look at all the great wars and say 99% of those wars were started by men. So how can men make a difference now when, or who are the men who are going to make that difference now when we have generations of fatherless men, or men without fathers?
It's going to take a lot of hard work, but we have to start somewhere, Derek. I think the ministry is calling men to start in all levels, young men, boys, teenage boys, young adults, old men, senior men, all ages of men. We're trying to herald them to recognize the situation that's happening and to start transforming their hearts now. And we are working with men who are willing, welcoming them to come on board, to be trained, to be formed, to help understand the psyche of men, understand the archetypes of men, understand how men think and operate, so that they can then go out into their spaces, their schools, their families, and mentor men, mentor young boys, mentor teenagers to become this Catholic man ideal, a man of integrity, honest man, a God-fearing man, you know? So that is the starting point. You know, we're working with who we have first and empowering them to go out to start transforming the lives of other men.
You know, they had a show called A Few Good Men?
Right.
So you're hoping that we get a few good men
Yeah.
to start to launch out into the sea,
Correct.
to go out into the deep and cast their nets again.
Correct.
Because I believe that young men need men to show them the way. They are hungering. This is the kind of on the ground feedback that I am getting, because I work on the ground with men who are single fathers, young men who are struggling, young men who've been disillusioned, young men who are in crime. They're selling drugs, they're pushing drugs, they're involved in crime. And you see almost a hunger for them to get something real. And as the word I'm going to use, get something real, because all they're grabbing onto, they're things that are not real.
Mm-hmm. Illusions.
They're illusions. I like that. They're illusions. And therefore this hunger is there. Now, His Grace, you know, he ain't think he biting off more than he could chew.
It's a big bite.
Are you involved in the bite?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, yes.
What about you, Pete? You
We
involved in
all
the bite
biting
too?
together.
Hey, Uncle Derek biting too, eh? You know what I mean? So it's a big bite. But, you know, we're launching this Catholic men's movement. What the purpose, as you say, is to, what? Create men for the 21st century, boy?
Definitely, and as you say, to revitalize the men's ministry and have a focus, a clearer focus on dealing with the issues that pertain to us today and the challenges that face us now. And one of the things that has come up in the discussions is that we have to look at new ways of going out to the men, new strategies, and so on. One of the things that we have discussed and we've all agreed upon as part of the new initiative is that if we want to form our young men, then we have to be in the place where they are. And one of the places that we encounter our young men is in our Roman Catholic boys' schools. So one of the goals of the ministry as we move forward would be to have a presence first in our Roman Catholic boys secondary schools. The aim will be to get into all our Roman Catholic schools, primary schools. But because of personnel and so on, as we say, it's a big bite, but you must start somewhere. So we want to look first at getting into the secondary schools and helping the teachers and the principals there to form and to bring about this ideal of, as we say, working out in discussion and in the day-to-day. What does it mean to be a young Catholic man in Trinidad and Tobago today? What are your responses to the various challenges that you will encounter and so on, so that we have a presence in the school, and eventually we hope to get into the primary schools, because if we are to reshape the thinking of our young people, you need to get them as early as possible.
I agree.
But as personnel would permit, right? And as you say, we're biting off a big chunk, but you want to ensure that whatever you do is effective. So we're going to start with the secondary schools, but the aim will be to get into every school in Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, I know we have about 100 and something primary schools. Are you all thinking at all about saying, well, okay, listen, we have 100 and something primary schools in terms of Catholic schools. You have maybe about, what, 7 or 8, about 10 Catholic schools?
Secondary schools?
Yeah.
We have about, including the private, where you have, it's about 8 or 9.
About 8 or 9,
Yeah.
right? But that's really a small demographic when you're really looking at the whole thing. But we have to start somewhere.
Correct, yeah.
And the plan is to start with the Catholic schools. Are you thinking about doing any work with the teachers themselves, especially the male teachers? The male teachers to mentor these young men and these young women, because it's primary schools, it's secondary schools, but it's mainly men, right? Yeah. Are you looking at the male Catholic teachers and doing any kind of formation work with them, so that when they go back to their schools, they could basically impact on the lives of these young men, these young charges, these people that they have to mentor?
Well, that is a good point you're raising there. We haven't discussed that up to this point, but I do think it is a very good place to start when it comes to getting involved in Catholic schools. Yes, definitely we would like to approach the boys and the young men as well. But the male teachers themselves will also need mentoring. So we'll need to call them and invite them into some training formation programs to be able to relate to their students, as well as while working with the young men, the students as well.
How long you all started this thing? I mean, you're talking about this men's movement. Well, you're having a launch. When is the launch?
The launch will be on next Tuesday, the 19th of March, 5 p.m. at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. All right. His Grace will be celebrating the Mass that will effect the launch of the National Catholic Men's Ministry.
So you have a big launch day, and it's on Tuesday the 19th. That's the Feast of St. Joseph?
Joseph,
It is,
yes.
yes.
Why the Feast of St. Joseph?
Well, St. Joseph has been chosen as the patron of the men's movement.
Ah, boy, cool. That was a wise one there,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
St. Joseph is being chosen as the patron saint for the men's movement.
Correct.
So we're going to ask him to inspire us, to intercede for us, to ask his earthly son to, hey, son, we need some help.
Yeah, do something.
You know what I mean? I'm quite sure when he was the carpenter, he used to say, come, Jesus, come and give me a little hand here. So he is going to be calling on his son, and through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, the will of the Father, you know, to help us in this movement.
Yeah.
So we're going to have Mass to launch this thing out. It's going to be at the cathedral on Tuesday the 19th,
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
5 p.m.
Now, I know there are thousands of people coming down there. Where are you going to fit these thousands? Where are they going to park? Do you have any planning to organize
Yeah, well,
them with parking and
well,
so
We
on?
do, yes.
Yes, for parking we have 3 locations. You have the Salvatore car park.
Is that for free?
Yes,
Definitely.
yes,
It's
free.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. It's
You know,
free.
men like free tickets.
Yeah,
Right.
we consider that.
We consider that good.
Right? You also have parking at the parkade, and for those who are out of Port of Spain, the parkade is located on the corner of Edward and Queen Street. All right, and we also have the third location,
Campsell.
Campsell
Campsell
car
car
park.
park,
Yeah.
right, which is the back of the Catholic Center,
The back of the-
right next to the cathedral.
Good. So Salvatore is just opposite.
Yeah.
You have Campsell's car park that's right there, right next to the what you call it, the cathedral.
Yeah.
Parkade is by
A
where?
little way down.
A little way down.
Yeah, and because of that, there will be shuttle.
You're going to be shuttled?
Yeah, shuttle
How
from
much
the
you have to
parkade.
contribute to the shuttle?
Free.
That's also free.
The shuttle is free?
Free.
Or you have no excuse. Or you have no
Free,
excuse
free.
not to come. Right?
Right.
We want to tell all the men, come on down. Bring your sons and come. Bring your fathers and come. Yeah, bring Gramps. Let Gramps come down the road. You know, bring your sons. Listen, those who are working in town, leave your car wherever you park it, right? And just walk down to the cathedral on Tuesday, the 19th of March. We're celebrating Holy Mass with His Grace the Archbishop, who is going to be doing the official launch of the National Catholic Men's Movement.
And the shuttle from the parkade will begin at 4 p.m.
Yeah, it'll be running from 4 to 8 p.m.
All right, so let's say you get 1,000 men there. What you want to tell these 1,000 men?
Well, hopefully His Grace will have a powerful message for them. He is prepared to speak to them already. We would like to share some vision and mission with them for the movement moving forward, so that they could, so that we could whet their appetite, so that after this grand occasion, they don't just go back to their homes and fall off the spectrum again, you know, but to keep them activated and keep them connected. So we hopefully will be able to trap them.
To trap them?
Yes.
What jail is this? Men want to trap men, boy. Here, this is the one. Yeah, easy, you know. But, okay, so we get these people to come on there. I mean, that is just the launch.
Correct.
But that's the launch of the Catholic Men's Movement in Trinidad and Tobago. You spoke a little earlier on and you said there was going to be some kind of formation. Because you get men to come inside there, you bring them down. According to Farman Up, you hook them, right? But you don't want them to go down the road with a garbage bag. So what do you intend to do with these men who come down to the cathedral? Are you going to have some kind of formation work with them? Are you going to empower them? What it is you're going to do with these men who come in down the road? Because they come in, they hear the Archbishop launching the Catholic Men's Ministry. So they come down the road. Okay, so His Grace has a talk and so on for them. But you're all on a committee, right? Or they're part of our team.
Right.
By the way, I'm on the team too. Right? So what is this team going to be doing with these men who've come down? How are we going to keep them inspired, to keep them on fire as they go back to their communities? You have a way of hooking them? How are you hooking them?
Well, definitely, as we've started already, one of the key elements is that you want to take a ground-up approach, so that discussion with regard to the various groups that are there, and to find out what are the needs. I mean, we would have a vision of where we would like to go, but there are different ways and different means of getting to the same destination. So it would be important to find out what are the needs of the particular groups. There are some groups that may need more leadership formation, right? There are certain things. We all have our various challenges and our issues and so on, and therefore, how do we deal and do we treat with it? We talk and we would obviously share with them and with the various groups best practices. You have groups who are going out on a regular basis in various communities.
So you have groups right now that are doing working in
yes,
this ministry?
Yes, there are men's groups who are operating
throughout Trinidad and Tobago?
Throughout Trinidad and Tobago,
yeah.
Right? There are groups that have been active for many years. It's now that we're just revitalizing the movement.
Right.
So really, like as a historian, is to make it very clear. And those who have been involved, it's not that we're saying that there was nothing before.
Okay.
All right? But all that we're trying to do now is to network and to have a more coordinated effort.
Right?
Right?
Have a one message.
Yes.
Good. Now, you're a young boy. Young men don't come to church at all. How are you all going to inspire? I'm talking to you as the baby young boy, the baby in the group. Hold on, man. That's your face there. He's still a black, right? He's still a black on the beard. So I'm just saying, you gotta be a young boy. You don't mind me asking you your age? What's your age?
I'm 26.
Oh, good. The man is 26 years old. You are a really young boy. How are you going to inspire young men? I want you to put on that hat. If I had a hat, I'd put it on you. How are you going to inspire young men to get involved, to understand their manhood, their call, their vocation as men, to be involved in this mission that Christ has called us all to?
Right.
26 years old?
Yeah.
Boy, you're a young boy. Yeah.
So the ministry at the moment, we are studying the millennial generation. We're studying the current generation, and trying to understand the mind of how, or I should say we, because how we think and how we operate. Because it is far different from
we think, the old people here.
Correct,
right.
yes. All right.
I'm calling us old people here, boy.
Your words, I'm just agreeing.
Younger, yeah.
It's very different. And making this shift is not going to be easy. And even in our discussions, I sit back and I listen and I realize that it's going to be a hard pull. Yes, we might be thinking young people, young men, and how to get them on board, how to capture their interests, how to attract them even to be interested in something like this. But even the thinking of the young men and the approach is still a bit archaic. So it's going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of research, a lot of outsourcing of professionals who will be able to help us understand the minds of millennials and to help us to use the best techniques and strategies to be able to engage them and approach them. So that is the last decision we made to recognize and to admit that we don't hold all the tools, we don't possess all the skills required to do this work, and that we need to outsource professional help to help us to understand the minds of the millennial generation and to also be able to reach out to them.
We want to go outside. We're doing a personal ad right now. If you are a young person and you have any ideas on how we could hook other young men, get involved. Come down on the 19th. Actually, we're going to be waiting at every single door in the cathedral to get your telephone number to WhatsApp you one time to pull you into this men's movement. Every single man that's going to be down there, we're going to hook all you. You know what I mean? We're gonna capture you. Just give us a telephone number and your name, and you're going to be part of this men's movement, right? And there's going to be some formation work. We're going to bring you all together. We're going to inspire you. You're going to have an encounter with Christ. We're going to do some encounter. We're going to do some formation. And yes, we're sending all you out on mission. Now, I know we have a little 3-minute clip that we want to show, about this men's movement and what is going to happen. But I want to ask you one last question.
Sure.
You're a young boy. How come you're involved in this thing?
I would say...
Who hooked you?
Yeah, I was hooked.
You were hooked?
Yeah, I had a lot of positive men influences in my life growing up.
Really?
Not from my own father, but men in church were able to connect and encourage me along the journey. And from there, it's just been one step to the other that led me to where I am today, basically.
I want you all to hear what that young boy just said. You're a 26-year-old young boy. How long are you on this journey?
Since I could remember.
No, you belong to CTC. How long you belong to
CTC? Oh, 4 years now. I'm a committed full-time member.
That means at 22 years old, somebody inspired this young man. And you heard what he said. It was other men who basically were like mentors to him and pulled him in. We want to be mentors to the many young men outside there. We have to be mentors. It's not a what you call it?
Option.
Not an option. We have to be. Because when we look at over the last 10 years, you multiply 10 by 5, that's 5,000 young men who've been murdered and killed. People with no direction, people with the wrong direction, people listening to fake news that have lost their lives. What productivity, what talent have we lost in those last 10 years with young men just going the way of Satan? We men have to make a difference. I'm going to just close there and let His grace do the rest. So thank you. Come out on March the 19th.
5 p.m.
Cathedral Immaculate Conception.
Time?
5 p.m.
Bring your son and come.
Bring the whole family. Yeah,
Amen.
come.
Dear brothers, I'm very excited to invite you to something. Yes is an important one. For the last year, we've been looking at a national men's movement. And on March the 19th, 5 o'clock in the cathedral, we're having the launch of this. Our country needs strong men of faith at this time. Men who would stand by the principles of God. Men who would stand on God's word and would allow their lives to be a witness to the generations coming. Men who in their families would be dependable, loving fathers and husbands, and who would really struggle hard to live everything that God is calling you to live. And it's so tough in our times that we thought that men need a special support at this stage to help us as men live what we've been called to live. We need you. But we need you to grow in faith and discipleship. March 19th, Cathedral, 5 p.m. And this is not just for the men. And we want you to turn out in numbers. Bring your children, bring your family, make sure you bring your sons and your daughters, and let us gather as church together to celebrate this new beginning of a national men's movement where we call men to discipleship and to love God in deep and profound ways. God bless you. See you there.